Hello and welcome to Auto Shenanigans. How the devil are you? Have you had a good week? My name is John. Thank you very much for joining me for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. In today's episode, we're heading to Portsmouth via the 2-mile-long M275 motorway. It opened in 1976 and despite its short length manages to cram in several interesting features. We're going to start at the northern end of the motorway where the M275 meets the A27 at a traffic light controlled junction known as the Hillsea interchange. When the interchange was originally constructed, it was built as a roundabout, but in the early 2000s this was deemed unsuitable, so it was replaced with an equally unsuitable junction which still suffers from serious congestion. After a mere few hundred metres, the M275 makes a sharp turn to the left and then to the right via the trumpet and T-shaped interchange where it connects with the M27. It's all nicely free-flowing, although somewhat ruined by the nearby Hillsea interchange. In any case, it's a feat of engineering because not only is it a large and complex interchange, it was all built on reclaimed land. Once upon a time, it was all part of Portsmouth Harbour and much more suited to boats. What they did was take the existing Hillsea Island and extend it northwards to meet the mainland and then chucked a motorway on it. Once you've got all that interchange nonsense out of the way, you won't miss the Sails of the South monument or landmark. It sits between the carriageways on the M275, right next to the landfill site. It's 43 metres high and was constructed in 2001 as part of a city regeneration project. It's held up by over 60 cables ranging in diameter up to 28 millimetres, and whilst I don't know if it's still functional, it contains load cells which measures the forces on the cables and then transmits the data to a control centre. Its location means it has to deal with very strong winds and, well, it's a sail. Just after the Sails of the South, on your left in the water of Tipner Lake, is the Jack Star sculpture. It was installed in late 2000 as part of the same city regeneration project for no apparent reason from what I can see. I appreciate the artistic intention behind it, but yep, still, it's something interesting to look out for when you're driving down the motorway. Junction 1 arrived shortly after, and when the motorway was built, the junction wasn't. They started work rerouting the existing roads and they built 2 bridges in preparation for the junction to be added, but the project was cancelled and for decades the junction sat in a state of limbo, unfinished and unused. Fast forward to the 2010s and as part of yet another exciting city regeneration project, they set about finishing the junction properly and they added a park and ride next to it. It only took 40 odd years, but they got there in the end. Building this junction led to a reduction of the speed limit on the motorway. If you want to retain a 70-mile-an-hour limit, you have to build motorway junctions 1.5 miles from one another, but in this case, the M27 and M275 interchange is but a few hundred metres away. This means if they wanted to build this junction, which they did, they had to reduce the speed limits in order to conform to the road building regulations. Basically, you can have junctions close to one another, but you've got to reduce the speed limit accordingly. Lastly, this junction and the park and ride isn't accessible to local traffic. They deliberately prevented access by way of putting bollards across the road. They were worried that cars might want to use the junction, which would lead to traffic. What this also means is that whilst you can exit at this junction, there's no point. Of course, with the addition of a park and ride at Junction 1, the motorway now features a bus lane between Junctions 1 and 2. Junction 2 is the final junction on the M275 and it's crammed in between the ports and housing of Portsmouth. The junction has an interesting feature where on the northbound slip road you'll find a cheeky little extra entrance for the trucks leaving the docks. The downside is that along this motorway slip road there's a set of traffic lights halfway up. The motorway passes over Junction 2 on a flyover before sort of fizzling out and becoming the A3. That's the end of the motorway for sure, but there were plans for the M275 to continue a bit further into the town centre. Had things been built to plan, the motorway might have taken a route a bit like this, but the plan relied on several other roads being constructed to a certain high standard, and looking around at what we have today, I don't really think any of that happened. Certainly the continuation of the M275 was cancelled, having never made it much further than the drawing board. And there we are then guys, that's all we've got time for this week. Thanks very much for watching, I hope you liked the video. If you did, there is of course a button specifically for that, and if you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so, that'd be wicked sweet awesome. Enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you get up to. My name's John, you've been watching Auto Shenanigans, and I'll see you next time for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. Till then, take care, bye-bye.
Listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears, get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message, and it comes from the heart. Oh, believe in yourself, for that's the place to start. And I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day. If we could learn to work and play and get along with each other. What a wonderful kind of